Caitlin Clark is about to unleash the most talked-about transformation the WNBA has ever witnessed, and nobody saw it coming. Whispers of her off-season training spread like wildfire, but those rumors barely scratch the surface of the reality. She isn't just returning to the court, she's returning as a far more imposing force, shocking anyone who doubted her toughness. If you thought you knew what Caitlin Clark was capable of before, get ready, because everything has changed. The basketball world has been buzzing with stories of players who made jaw-dropping leaps over a single offseason. But Clark's evolution already feels different. There's a wave of anticipation that's pushing fans to the edge of their seats. People aren't just excited, they're bracing themselves because this is more than a glow-up. It's a statement, one so powerful that certain well-known coaches and fellow players are scratching their heads, wondering how they'll handle this unstoppable phenomenon. Before the massive hype, Clark endured a barrage of skepticism from some of the sport's most influential voices. Critics claimed she was one-dimensional. Others insisted she wasn't tough enough to handle the league's punishing brand of play. Her slender frame became an easy target. One prominent coach even cast doubt on her future, speculating that she'd crumble under repeated hits from aggressive defenders. But the real eye-opener happened during her rookie season. Defenses pushed her around like a rag doll, bumping her off cuts, sending sneaky elbows into her sides, and flattening her on picks that felt more like collisions. Time and again, Clark hit the ground. Time and again, she got back up, refusing to give her opponents the satisfaction of a single grimace. She didn't lash out or complain. Instead, she used every cheap shot as fuel, filing each encounter away until she was ready to reshape her entire approach to the game. By the end of that season, there was no question that Clark had endured something closer to a battlefield than a basketball schedule. Still, many skeptics held on to the belief that she would either adapt slowly or fade into the background. Their doubt served as kindling for a competitive fire that was already raging in her heart. Little did they know, the spark that started this metamorphosis was just about to explode. As soon as the final buzzer sounded on her rookie year, rumors of Clark's upcoming transformation began circulating. A few cryptic social media posts hinted at round-the-clock training. Fans speculated she was holed up in a gym somewhere, performing dribble drills until dawn. Others claimed she'd hired an elite performance team, including specialized trainers, nutritionists, and sports psychologists, all dedicated to turning her into an unbreakable machine. Through all the chatter, Clark stayed silent. When she did appear, it was usually in a low-key TikTok clip or a quick interview snippet that revealed little beyond her calm determination. She never bragged about how many reps she was logging, nor did she throw shade at those who once questioned her resilience. Instead, she offered a few carefully worded phrases about continuously getting stronger and finding new ways to elevate her game. Behind that cool exterior, serious work was happening. Word leaked that her daily schedule was relentless: morning weightlifting, midday shooting drills, afternoon cardio sessions, and late-night film study. While others might spend the off-season recovering or traveling, Clark was busy morphing into a version of herself even she might not have recognized a year ago. Perhaps the biggest sign of her transformation came in small details: a thicker build in a grainy training photo, a new ripple of muscle in her arms, or an unexpected burst of speed glimpsed in a short practice clip. Then came the bombshell. Pictures that stopped fans dead in their tracks. Where once she'd been lean, now she looked stronger, more compact, and undeniably capable of absorbing hits. Every basketball blog, every Twitter space, and every sports talk segment was buzzing about one question: how did Caitlin Clark do it? The truth is, it wasn't magic. Clark had poured countless hours into an intense strength and conditioning regimen. She tore through cardio workouts designed to improve her stamina, sprint training for agility and explosiveness, and weight sessions laser-focused on building functional muscle. Think heavier squats to stabilize her base, bench presses to toughen up her shoulders, and specialized core exercises that help with balance when defenders lay into her. One trainer described Clark's approach as unbreakable discipline. She showed up early, left late, and attacked each drill with a kind of seriousness you only see in players who are forging a legacy. The results became impossible to hide. Her arms, once slender, appeared defined and ready to swat away pesky defenders. Her posture radiated a newfound confidence that felt bigger than basketball. Critics who had previously deemed her too fragile to excel in the WNBA suddenly found themselves reconsidering, or doubling down out of sheer stubbornness. Yet it wasn't merely about packing on muscle. Clark's approach targeted every aspect of her athleticism. She improved her lateral quickness for defense, practiced absorbing hits without losing her dribble, and sharpened her footwork to seal off smaller guards. In short, she transformed into a two-way force, a threat in every area of the game. Among those observing Clark's metamorphosis were a few coaches who'd once questioned her tenacity. Coaches like Geno Auriemma, well-known, outspoken, and occasionally dismissive of unproven newcomers. Some earlier comments suggested Clark's skill set wasn't suited to handle bigger, stronger veterans. In those initial weeks, it sounded like he believed she'd fold against the league's top defenders. But those sentiments are now being replayed with a sense of irony. Clark isn't just surviving the league's physicality, she's flipping it on its head. Every nudge or bump from a defender is an invitation for her to initiate contact first, turning physical play into her advantage. Seasoned players who used to toss her around like a rag doll are discovering she's the one who sets the tone now. To some, her transformation feels like a direct rebuttal, a personal message to the doubters who once scoffed at her slight build. But Clark rarely engages in public spats. She's not the type to trash talk or post cryptic messages. Instead, she lets her on-court performance speak for itself. Rivals have realized, perhaps too late, that they ignited a firestorm of improvement the day they labeled her as soft. When Clark rejoined her teammates for preseason workouts, the mood instantly shifted. Players who had grown accustomed to her remarkable shooting displays were now confronted with a physically imposing presence they hardly recognized. One teammate described the shock of setting a screen for Clark, only to see Clark hold her ground and brush off a defender with a firmness that took everyone by surprise. Competitors around the league began comparing notes. Word of Clark's newfound strength spread rapidly, part warning, part disbelief. Blogs exploded with headlines like, "Caitlin Clark exposed the doubters," while others wrote editorials proclaiming this new phase in her career as the birth of a future MVP. Even seasoned veterans weighed in on the discussion, some praising her dedication while others expressed a mix of concern and excitement. One opposing guard admitted that, based on scrimmages and private runs, Clark's physicality is no joke. She's no longer an easy target for defenders hoping to knock her off balance. Now, the contact seems to fuel her game, providing an edge that only accelerates her offense. As the new season looms, fans are salivating at the possibilities. Clark has become a matchup nightmare, someone who can dribble through double teams, post up smaller guards, and still loft up those trademark logo threes whenever she pleases. The best part? She doesn't appear to have sacrificed any of her quickness. Instead, she's integrated her stronger frame into a style that remains lightning fast. Beyond scoring, she's refining her distribution skills. When defenses collapse on her drives, she dishes pinpoint passes to open shooters. The added muscle also helps her hold defenders at bay just long enough to spot the right passing angle. Talk of double-doubles in points and assists is getting louder, and some pundits are already speculating about historical records. Could she be the first to average 25 points and 15 assists for an entire season? This isn't hyperbole thrown around by casual fans either. Analysts who specialize in advanced metrics are noticing a huge leap in her offensive efficiency during scrimmages. They point out that, with her improved durability, the typical ways defenses handle star players, bumping them early, wearing them down over time, may backfire. Clark seems fresher late in games, capable of turning tight scores into blowouts with a few unstoppable drives. A transformation of this scale isn't just physical, it's mental. Clark's approach to the game now brims with a confidence that verges on intimidating. Opponents know she's stronger, but more importantly, she knows it too. That realization changes everything. She's not timidly probing defenses, worried about another cheap shot coming her way. She's charging into the lane, initiating contact on her own terms, and letting defenders know they can't knock her off her axis anymore. This attitude shift extends beyond the court. Teammates note a new calm in the locker room, an unspoken understanding that they have someone who can anchor the team through rough stretches. It's contagious. Others are upping their training, hoping to match that energy. Meanwhile, opponents step onto the floor second-guessing their defensive strategies, well aware that if they try to play rough, they might be the ones picking themselves off the hardwood. In some ways, it feels like the league is witnessing the creation of a new archetype, the sharpshooter who also thrives on physical battles. Historically, players have often excelled at either skillful shooting or punishing opponents inside. Clark appears determined to merge the two. forging an identity that combines marksmanship and power. If Clark can sustain this surge, it's not just her personal accolades that will skyrocket. She has the potential to drag the entire WNBA into a new era of explosive, must-watch basketball. Her blend of range, power, and cunning passing is already forcing coaches to reinvent their defensive playbooks. Younger players are watching her example, realizing that skill alone isn't enough if you can't handle a league loaded with aggressive, veteran defenders. Speculation runs rampant about how many championships she might accumulate. Some even muse that she could become a marquee player who transcends the WNBA, pulling in crowds that traditionally only follow men's basketball. If she racks up MVP awards and sets statistical milestones, her legacy could transform the sports landscape, attracting more talent, more fans, and more investment in the women's game. And yet, Clark's evolution isn't without potential pitfalls. Adding muscle can sometimes introduce new injury risks if not done strategically. The prolonged physical battles she's now more willing to engage in might test her endurance over a long season. Still, those close to her are optimistic that her balanced approach to nutrition, rest, and recovery will mitigate such dangers. One thing is certain: the Caitlin Clark the league faced last year is a ghost. She's not returning as a mere star, but as a titanic figure who's refining her craft season after season. With rivalries brewing and new talent constantly emerging, the stage is set for an era-defining clash, one that might set records and produce iconic moments we'll be talking about for decades. Caitlin Clark's transformation is more than just an off-season storyline. It's the dawning of a new chapter in the WNBA. She stepped into the league with a fiery passion and an otherworldly shooting touch. Now, she's returning fortified by months of relentless training and an ironclad determination. The question isn't whether she'll shock the basketball world. It's whether the rest of the league can do anything about it. Players who once saw her as a skinny guard with a sweet shot are realizing she's built for war. Coaches who felt she might shrink under the league's physical demands are now taking frantic notes on how to slow her down, if that's even possible. And fans, both old and new, sense that they're witnessing a monumental shift, the kind of transformation that occurs once in a generation. Whether you love her, hate her, or still haven't made up your mind, one fact remains: Caitlin Clark is here to claim her place among the legends. The only question left is, can anyone stop her?